Hey guys, Paul here. So today we have a bit of an unfortunate Yu-Gi-Oh development to talk about, and that's surrounding the newest Yu-Gi-Oh Speed Duel product and its availability in Europe. So if you don't know, this is Speed Duel GX Midterm Destruction, a new Speed Duel product. If you have been playing this sort of format of Yu-Gi-Oh, you'll know that Konami has been releasing these sorts of products like Streets of Battle City and Midterm Paradox and all of these for the past couple of years in Speed Duel, and they've been really great, at least in my opinion. I like that they are kind of just these sealed, ready to play boxes where you just open it up and you and like 4 or even 8 friends can play with them. We've done lots of house tournament videos with these. In fact, we're trying to do one with this new set right now. This weekend just ended up being a little bit busy, but hopefully can come out on the channel here in the next week or so. But yeah, Speed Duel's awesome format. However, this is really unfortunate news. So when this product had been announced last year, people thought, okay, it's just going to come out like normal. But then earlier this year, there were some reports from players in Europe who were saying like, hey, why did this mysteriously disappear from the website, like under the product listing on the Yu-Gi-Oh EU site? And then also this was further corroborated when people were finding out that their own local like game stores were having their pre-orders for this product be canceled. And so it seemed like, well, are they just not going to release, midterm destruction in European territories? What's up with that? And of course, Konami didn't really like say anything about it, so it just sort of seemed like, well, maybe you wait and it comes out anyway. Well, unfortunately, that does not seem to be the case. So, if you go to the card legality section on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Konami EU Play site, this is basically where they mention all the different cards that are officially like legal for tournament play. So normally they say, as a general rule, a card is legal for tournament play as soon as it's officially released in the Yu-Gi-Oh trading card game. However, like certain cards in Europe are not actually allowed because they have not been released in a product that's available in the region. So they could become legal in the future if they're printed in a future product, and then they'd be removed from this list. So there's a few cards that like came from Shonen Jumps and other sort of special available things. But then down here they actually say Speed Duel cards not legal for play are all Speed Duel cards released in Speed Duel GX Midterm Destruction. So this is a real bombshell announcement, right? Like Speed Duel, there's a lot to say about Speed Duel, but just in general, Speed Duel was always kind of a fun side format to Yu-Gi-Oh! And actually was sort of a European-led initiative to my understanding. I think that more European areas actually had the different like Speed Duel events, like the Trials of the Pharaoh and things like that. And something that I actually did not know until this happened is that they have now moved Speed Duel production over to the United States. So if you look at the back of this box, which I know you can't see on here, but if you just see one of these boxes in real life, take my word for it, it actually says manufactured in the USA. And these other products, like this is Midterm Paradox, is one of the ones from a couple years back, actually said manufactured or made in Belgium. So it seems like Konami has basically moved Speed Duel production from the EU to the United States. Now, this alone would not be a huge deal, but the fact that, EU territories just simply are not getting Speed Duel things at all is really worrying. It sucks for if you're a player like, who just wanted to play in that region, you literally can't like legally play these cards. You don't get to play with the new skills or any of the new cards that got added in. And that really sucks. It does still mean that like you can use a secret rare dandelion. I think that like you can still play in tournaments there, but you can't use any of the new things that are just being introduced in Speed Duel. And the response to this that I've seen online is really, really disheartening. A lot of people are disappointed because they like Speed Duels, and the idea that this product is just basically not going to be available anymore in Europe, seemingly for the time being. This could obviously change. They could release it later. Who knows? But for the time being, it kind of feels like Speed Duel in Europe is sort of getting, I don't want to say axed, maybe that's like jumping the gun, but it definitely feels stunted. You're playing a stale format that's, behind, and that's really no fun. So, what do, right? Like, what do you guys think, like, is Konami's sort of idea behind all this? I am not really sure myself. I have my hunches. I know that typically Speed Duel has always been sort of a format that is not super it's not super popular, right? It's a more casual format. It's not marketed a whole bunch. While I like these products, I totally understand that they're not for everybody. Some people feel like this format's like Yu-Gi-Oh on training wheels, or it's just casual anime junk, or the products don't have any prices, so they're not worth it. But I think that it's a real shame if Konami's just giving up on the format outright, because I mean, like, people played this and they liked it. And if there's one thing I've learned from kind of dealing with a lot of companies, and I'm not saying this is 100% the reason, but just in this industry, you kind of quickly realize if there's been a major change in anything like, product or developmentally, you can probably think it's budget cuts. Like, you can probably safely assume that it has something to do with, budgetary constraints, budget cuts. Maybe this product was not super popular in that region, and so if it wasn't selling well, maybe they feel like it's just not worth it to produce it there and sell it there. It does suck that like a European player can't even import the product and use it in Europe, because I'm sure there are people who really wanted to do that. I also don't know what this means for print quality, because I know that Speed Duel cards, little known fact, always had the best like Konami print quality of all cards that you could at least get, like not in the OCG. So if they're being produced in the United States, I don't know what that means for quality control, but I guess I'll find out when I open this later. But yeah, so it's just, I don't know. I think that this is a really sad thing. And what are the implications? Does this mean that Speed Duel itself is just over, right? Like, because it basically kind of means in Europe it's going to have a severe decrease in popularity and appeal because you're not playing with the newest cards. But even in America, I feel like it kind of signals that maybe they're just going to be dropping the Speed Duel format. Or in, I say maybe. I'm not saying this is 100%, fact. This is necessarily the case, but it does feel like maybe this is just the last Speed Duel product that there is. I know that I see these, sitting on shelves a lot at Target, Walmart. They're kind of just shelf warmers, and not that many people play with them. It's a shame because I was actually kind of getting a little bit more into Speed Duel this year. I'd made some posts in the official Speed Duel like subreddit and stuff, asking people like, what's the meta right now? What's going on with the game? What are people liking? Are things feeling stale or exciting or whatever? And people still seem to be kind of into it. So if this was the end of Speed Duel, that would really suck. However, some people feel like this could be a reason why Konami would, like a chance for Konami to introduce Rush Duel instead. Because if you like phase out Speed Duel and introduce Rush Duel, then maybe that would be like the answer, right? Maybe that's what this means. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case. I feel like Rush Duel is just as much of a risk or liability for Konami to release in the West as Speed Duel probably was, because Rush Duel does not have as much of the nostalgia factor, and there are just a lot of card games right now. And if anything, Konami seems like they're kind of getting a little bit more conservative with what they want to release in Yu-Gi-Oh! So maybe, call me a pessimist. I would love to see Rush Duel. I think Rush Duel is amazing. I think the cards are great. I think that the format and the way that it actually plays out is surprisingly refreshing and actually answers a lot of the concerns that people have with modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I just would be surprised to actually, like, I'm just not sure that that's exactly what they're cutting this out for. And also, I was thinking, well, if this was, let's say, the last Speed Duel product, not saying it is, but if this was, then it would be a decent enough, conclusion to the format. It would basically kind of snapshot it. They have covered pretty much every major character in Duel Monsters and every major character in GX. So, they've kind of covered that, and that'd be it. Maybe they don't really plan to ever add 5Ds and synchro summoning to it, even though games like Duel Links eventually got, synchros and links and exes and all that stuff. Pendulums. I don't think that maybe Speed Duel wants to be that. Maybe they just kind of leave it at this. It's the format that's like DM, GX with cool skills and stuff, but that's kind of where it ends. And you can, buy products like this when you find them in the store and like make your own little draft cube experience, but that's just going to be the extent of it. Would that be a good thing? I don't think so. I think that, this product should go on because there are people who really like it. And I think that even if they were cutting out Speed Duels, it'd still be weird to like leave it in one territory and not the other. So I'm really hoping that this was just maybe a production issue and maybe Europe will be getting the product later. I know that some people don't even care about any of this. They're like, oh, well, it's Speed Duel, who gives a shit? But I think that that's not like a great way to view things because it doesn't bode well if something like Speed Duel can just go. Because if I'm remembering correctly, I think this is the first time Konami would have like dropped a major sort of product format thing. I guess if you count, what was it, traditional format like way back in the day, if anybody knows about that. But yeah, so it's not really a great look. I really hope that we get some announcements around this, some information. Maybe Europe just hasn't released, in the summer or something like that, so that those players can play with the cards and it can be still a fun, good time. Anyways, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this down in the comments. Let me know if you play Speed Duels, how you feel about this, particularly if you're a European player. Were you going to import the cards and, play with them that way? Is this do you think that this spells the end? Do you think this means the start of Rush Duel? Do you think it's just like what? I want to know everything. Yeah, let me know down in the comments. That's it. Just sort of an update. It really does suck. If I knew more, I would love to share, but I mean, I don't really know. I just hope Konami says something about this. Anyways, I guess that's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next video that'll hopefully be a little bit better news. Maybe a ban list or something. I don't know. All right, later. Pass turn.